Once upon a time, in a peaceful forest filled with tall trees and soft, green grass, lived a little rabbit named Hoppy and his best friend, a monkey named Jumpy. Hoppy was known for his soft, snowy fur and his big, kind eyes. Jumpy was famous for his playful smile and his long, curly tail that could swing him from tree to tree in a flash. One gentle morning, Hoppy woke up to the sound of birds singing outside his cozy burrow. He stretched his little legs, wiggled his pink nose, and peeked out into the bright world. The sun was shining, and the air was sweet with the smell of blooming flowers. Hoppy loved mornings like this, when everything felt fresh and full of promise. Hoppy hopped out into the meadow, where the grass was still cool from the night. As he nibbled on a juicy clover, he heard a familiar giggle above him. He looked up and saw Jumpy swinging from a branch, his tail curling around and around. "Good morning, Hoppy," called Jumpy, landing softly beside his friend. "Good morning, Jumpy," replied Hoppy, his ears perking up with joy. "What shall we do today?" Jumpy grinned. "I have an idea. Let's go on a treasure hunt. I heard from the wise old owl that there's a hidden garden somewhere in the forest, filled with the most beautiful and rare flowers. They say the flowers only bloom when friends work together to find them." Hoppy's eyes grew wide with excitement. "A hidden garden? That sounds magical. Let's go together." So, Hoppy and Jumpy set off on their adventure. They walked along a winding path, listening to the soft sounds of the forest. The leaves rustled gently, the birds chirped sweetly, and sometimes they heard the distant croak of a frog by the pond. As they walked, they came across a sparkling stream. The water was so clear, Hoppy could see tiny fish swimming and little pebbles at the bottom. Jumpy picked up a smooth stone and tossed it, making it skip across the water. Hoppy giggled and tried too, but his stone made a tiny splash and sank. They both laughed and continued on their way. Soon, they reached a tall, twisty tree with a hollow at the bottom. Inside the hollow, they found a family of squirrels munching on acorns. "Hello, friends," said Hoppy kindly. "We're looking for the hidden garden. Do you know which way to go?" One of the little squirrels pointed with his tiny paw. "Follow the path of the blue butterflies," he squeaked. "They will lead you to the garden." "Thank you," said Jumpy, waving goodbye as he and Hoppy set off again. Not long after, they spotted a flutter of blue butterflies dancing in the air. The butterflies seemed to be waiting for them, so Hoppy and Jumpy followed, stepping softly so they wouldn't scare them away. The butterflies led them through a patch of tall grass, past a family of ducks swimming in a pond, and under a rainbow of wildflowers. The friends stopped to smell the flowers and watch the ducks splash and play. Hoppy and Jumpy loved seeing all the happy animals in the forest. As they walked, they heard a soft cry coming from behind a bush. Hoppy hopped over and found a tiny mouse with a tangled tail. "Oh dear," said Hoppy gently. "What happened?" "My tail is stuck in this thorny branch," sniffled the mouse. "Don't worry," said Jumpy. "We'll help you." With his nimble fingers, Jumpy carefully untangled the mouse's tail, while Hoppy held back the thorny branches. Soon, the mouse was free and smiling. "Thank you so much," squeaked the mouse. "As a thank you, I'll give you this." The mouse handed them a shiny, golden acorn. "If you ever get lost, hold this acorn and think of home. It will help you find your way." Hoppy and Jumpy thanked the mouse and continued their journey, feeling happy to have helped a new friend. The butterflies led them deeper into the forest, where the trees grew taller and the air felt cool and quiet. Suddenly, the butterflies stopped and began to circle around a patch of mossy ground. "There's nothing here," said Jumpy, looking around. Hoppy thought for a moment and remembered what the wise old owl had said. The flowers only bloom when friends work together. He turned to Jumpy and said, "Maybe we need to do something together." Jumpy nodded. "Let's try singing a song." So, Hoppy and Jumpy held hands and sang a gentle song about friendship and kindness. As they sang, something magical began to happen. The mossy ground started to shimmer, and tiny buds poked up through the earth. The buds grew and grew, opening into the most beautiful flowers Hoppy and Jumpy had ever seen. There were flowers in every color: blue, pink, yellow, and purple. Some glowed softly in the shade, while others sparkled in the sunlight. The air was filled with a sweet, gentle fragrance. Hoppy and Jumpy danced around the garden, amazed by its beauty. They picked a few flowers to take home, being careful not to pick too many so the garden would stay beautiful for everyone. As they explored, they found a small, sparkling pond in the center of the garden. In the pond, they saw their reflections smiling back at them. Hoppy and Jumpy sat by the pond, feeling peaceful and happy. They talked about their favorite parts of the day. Hoppy loved helping the little mouse and seeing the magical flowers bloom. Jumpy loved following the butterflies and singing with his best friend. As the sun began to set and the sky turned soft shades of orange and pink, Hoppy and Jumpy knew it was time to go home. They took one last look at the magical garden, promising to return and share it with their friends. Before they left, Hoppy held the golden acorn and thought of home, just as the mouse had told them. The acorn glowed gently, and a path of soft light appeared, leading them back through the forest. Hoppy and Jumpy followed the glowing path, waving goodbye to the butterflies, the ducks, and the squirrels. When they reached the edge of the meadow, the light faded, and they knew they were almost home. Hoppy hugged Jumpy and said, "Thank you for being my best friend and for sharing this adventure with me." Jumpy smiled and hugged Hoppy back. "I'm so glad we found the hidden garden together. I can't wait for our next adventure." With happy hearts and sleepy eyes, Hoppy hopped back to his cozy burrow, and Jumpy climbed up to his comfy treehouse. They both snuggled in, thinking of the magical garden and the power of friendship. As the stars twinkled above, Hoppy and Jumpy drifted off to sleep, dreaming of new adventures, kind friends, and the gentle magic of the forest. Good night, little ones. May your dreams be filled with gentle adventures, beautiful gardens, and the happiest friendships, just like Hoppy and Jumpy. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to Fuzzy Fable Factory and tap the like button. We can't wait to share more gentle adventures and bedtime stories with you. Sweet dreams.